ascertainment of that we have a quorum.
Mr. Larry Bryan, absent.
Michelle King.
I'm sorry, Bishop, sorry. Mr. Harry Daniel is here, excuse me, well, absent.
Absent.
For the Dave Georges.
Present.
Member Lydia Hendrick.
Present.
Member Wilma Marsh Monsanto. Member Arturo Washington Jr.
Present.
Alicia M. Wells present. Mr. Chair, we have 5 present, 2 absent.
Thank you. We have a quorum. We have items on the agenda. We welcome everyone to the meeting, and hopefully we can get through this agenda. I would like to ask the permission of the body of the members to at least start this discussion by not necessarily reorder it, but we didn't have, well, maybe in announcements we can get this letter in, but then we can all go through the agenda and then we go. The first item on the agenda, I'm sorry to touch it. First item, I didn't have to, I'm sorry. The first item on the agenda is discussion of the consent decree. Attorney Salisbury has put in writing, given us what we discussed last meeting in terms of our proposal that we should be making to the joint board regarding the Uniform and Overseas Citizen Absentee Voting Act and our compliance with the consent decree. Does everyone have a copy? What Attorney Salisbury actually put in writing?
That's all.
Okay.
I just want to say, what you have in front of you was my original proposal, but when we talked about it at the last meeting, you all had discussed different days.
And that's what I thought, in fact, this was. But I'm looking at it.
No, that's what I had with me last time. I can tell you what those different days were.
Okay, well, because I know that we basically agreed based on days that were suggested by member Hendricks that we would be going with some April dates rather than March dates. And I'm looking at it and I see that.
Right, March was still there for section 410. I can tell you what, I wrote down what days.
Okay, all right. Well,
For
okay.
instance, the very first one, 350, you had suggested instead of the first Monday in April, we did 4th Wednesday in April.
The first Wednesday.
Yes.
Fourth Wednesday. It's a withdrawal, yes. Okay, but we're going backward rather than, we're starting in the middle rather than from the beginning. But why don't we, so that we can follow it better, so that people will understand, because we're going to have to, if this thing passes, regardless of what date it passes, it's going to be our job to educate the public and the candidates as to this change. This will be a very dramatic change in terms of how we've been conducting business over the years. So I would suggest let's discuss it from a chronological point of view, beginning with the first day and work backward and work toward the last day.
All right, that's the third line, that's section 410,
Yes.
filing time for nomination.
Yes, and I think we
I
said,
had proposed the last Tuesday in March, and you all had proposed the second Tuesday in April.
well, let me just say, just for the benefit of those that are in the audience. Remember? Huh? April is what? You won't remember this for next year?
Okay.
This for next year, remember? Okay, so that we understand where we are. This consent decree calls for us to be able to put ballots in the hands of the voting, the absentee, uniform and overseas citizens 45 days prior to any election. Therefore, in order to do so, people will have to, in fact, file the nominating papers, cast lots for the nominations, have the system prepare the ballots, and thus all those states would have to take into effect when the actual election is, so that we can comply with the 45 days.
Primary election day this year is August 7th.
What was scheduled is now scheduled by old law.
No, that's.
By the law that exists right now. By the law that exists now. April 2nd date will not put ballots in the hands of people 45 days based upon the other portions of the code as it stands. You're not sure? In other words, if we don't change these dates, then we wouldn't even be able to comply with the August date. Because the filing date right now is in August. And you can't have a filing date in August and the primary in August and be 45 days ahead. So that's as simply as it is. So for the benefit of those who are looking and observing the meeting, the election process will begin sometime in April or March, according to what the joint board does tomorrow, or if the legislature accepts the recommendation of the joint board of election regarding this consent decree. But as it stands now, if we don't change the dates by law, we will be out of compliance with the UOCAVA, which is the Uniform and Overseas Citizen Absentee Voting Act, which is a federal act, which we have agreed that we are going to when I say we, the election system, I think the U.S. Department of Justice and the government of the Bahamas have agreed that we are going to comply with the law. And as such, we have to change the dates for filing, for casting of lots, for withdrawal of candidates, and for setting out the ballots to the various persons. And we will have to move up the primary election so that, in fact, it will comply with we will have enough time between the primary election and the general election to make sure that 45 days before the general election, people overseas and in uniform and overseas citizens have the ballot 45 days before the election. So actually, it would mandate for us also to have those ballots available locally for our people.
My question to the chair. So we have never been in compliance for all the years that...
For all the years. It is, well, I don't know when this act passed, but I know when I was trying to. This same issue came up in terms of the time that it took for the absentee ballots, the time period that was supposed to be extended for absentee ballots to be received. So it has always been some controversy, but maybe Attorney Salisbury could give a little bit more history.
Your power was passed in 2009.
Okay.
I was just going to tell him that.
Okay. So at least two elections we've been out of compliance. 2010 and 2012. Yeah.
That's the consent decree. We haven't done it on our own, so.
Okay. So now the consent decree mandates that you have to.
And it's my impression that it's not because the board has.
Right.
Why didn't it done it because the
Legislature, there has an act, right?
Well, the legislature did act. It's just that it acted in a vacuum and didn't realize that you can't just change the primary date. You have to change the other dates to become compliant. They did that. And what I was surprised about is that nobody in the board knew that legislature acted.
If I'm not mistaken, Ms. Wells, I'm going to ask you and this one son too. If I'm not mistaken, the legislature had a meeting. They heard from, at the time, Chairman Ross, who was the chair of the joint board, and the legislature did what they wanted. Because when they passed that law, it said 2014, and they didn't make changes to the other stuff.
You're not...
Yeah, but what I'm saying.
So what I'm trying to send a nice straight in.
But what I'm saying, I didn't hear any discussion by this board regarding that at all. there was no, by the existing members, nobody knew that
That it happened.
Yeah.
We didn't know.
No, until after.
But until
they
after,
sent-
the only thing,
Yeah.
when I found out is, and when I called anybody who didn't know anything, is when I brought the act. I didn't see anybody had this act up here. The act was passed from last year sometime.
Last year, April 25th.
Right.
Yeah,
And
Right.
the governor vetoed it.
Yeah.
And then they overrode it.
Right.
yeah,
It's on the roll.
yeah.
And that's why, because it was under 6 months, that's why he vetoed it. Am I not correct, Councilor, for the chair? Legal
It
counsel?
didn't have any effect on the upcoming election. It would have affected the election for 2014.
No, that's what they did. What I'm trying to tell you is when we went to them, we were trying to get them to do it for the 2012 election. When they did what they did, they fixed it for 2014.
And if they had done it for 2012, it would have been within 6 months of the upcoming election. And they couldn't do it for 2012 because it would have been totally impossible and impractical for the board, for you to react in May to election coming up, and you wanted to have an election in August. Right?
Understood.
Okay. But all I'm saying is that I didn't get any sense of information. No information was transmitted to the new members who were on the board for at least 2 years, who were never on the board before. I mean, and I think there is some duty to have some continuity, that those who went through the process supposed to educate those of us who may not be aware of it. Because I didn't study anything what, other than being a candidate, what the election system did over the last 2 years. Madam Marshall.
Wasn't it the same time that we said Mr. Abrahamson, Ross, and somebody else went before the legislature? And that was, at that time, Mr. Abrahamson, under oath at the same time, stated that the machines were EAC certified. So a lot of wrongdoings, that things weren't brought to the board, I should say. I'm just sharing that with you, that things weren't brought back to the board that should have been brought back in.
All right, but I don't want.
I mean, I just figured I would share that with
I don't want to change. I don't want to change the momentum.
But we are the same subject. A lot happened that the board was not aware of. A lot happened.
So is that attorney? So very good.
In a meeting, yeah, they call back. Okay.
We're gonna continue where Attorney Salisbury was.
Yeah, so Attorney Salisbury, we got the first date, second Tuesday in April.
First thing I have is fourth Wednesday in April.
No, what happened, what we
No,
saying,
we
right?
went back.
What we saying, we want to start
With
chronologically with the filing.
So signing should be the first.
Filing would be the first date that we recommended to change that. So the second, so on the third item?
The first item is the filing time. That's-
No, the third item.
The first item is the third item, which is the filing time for nomination.
Right.
And the date is
Second
second
Tuesday.
Tuesday in April.
Okay.
And so we could do on the same
Yeah.
paper, put number one.
Yes.
Yeah, and then number two would be the type, section 350, withdrawals, the fourth Wednesday in April.
Right, so that would
That's all you have. Leave your name on top.
Okay, all the members have that? If you need it, it's,
Right.
one would be the
Yeah.
filing time for nomination,
Okay, yeah.
which is the second Tuesday in April. Number two would be the withdrawal of
Okay,
the
no problem.
candidates,
You're about 261. Thank you, brother.
section 350, that's the fourth Wednesday in April. And on the third is what?
The casting of
With
lots.
the fourth, with the second, I'm sorry, 350, it's number 2, right?
Right.
Yes,
Okay. The fourth Wednesday.
casting of lots,
Casting of lots.
Wait.
that's a,
But wouldn't the casting of lots would come before the withdrawal?
yeah.
Isn't that correct?
Before, it was, the withdrawal was the first Monday in July, and the casting of lots was immediately after the first Monday. So it should come after.
So the casting of lots should come after the withdrawal. Okay, withdrawal period. Okay.
How, and this date stays?
No, remember we going with a number day of the month, the fourth Wednesday, not a specific day.
Right.
The fourth Wednesday in
So
April.
you might want it to just read immediately after the fourth Wednesday.
Didn't we have a specific day which was suggested by Lydia, by Mrs. Hendrick, Member Hendricks? Yeah, but we didn't come up with dates because remember, dates from year to year change. We came up with a specific day of the month. Do you remember that date that we want from 2012?
I thought the goal was to amend the statute as early as possible.
I have that information.
Keeping with the way, I mean, there's no reason to, you can change it anything you want to.
Well, I think the casting of lots should be a specific date, so the candidates can be aware that it will be, let's say, the last first. If this is the last, what I would recommend, if we're saying the last, immediately after the
Well, the fourth Wednesday in April.
okay.
So that's the local division for a federal plan, that's why it matters.
Okay. I think we had also a discussion as to whether or not we really want to. Okay, and the primary election, we also, did we say we were going to stick with the August date? We're going to stick with August?
Yes.
Because August, okay, you got August, what is it? The law is now,
Second.
huh?
Oh, well, at least.
First Saturday in August.
Which happens to be the second.
Okay, it's first Saturday, okay, so that we're going to come 10 days after. 10 days after that would put us at 12, August 12th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have 60 something days, 60. How do you want to structure the presentation? Because I don't think we should waste a lot of time.
Everybody should have already have a copy of the prior
Well,
information that should be given to the group.
well, I tell you something. I think it should be updated
I think so.
to specifically discuss what we have agreed upon.
Because this
Because
right now,
I can have it done between now and tomorrow.
This information will be ready for us tomorrow.
All I'm gonna do is these 5 items here.
Yeah. Yeah.
The 5 items. And then one of us could make a motion, and then we can discuss it with the joint boards in terms of trying to expedite it. Because once we get it done, we still have to sell it to the legislature, and the legislature still have to meet in full session to pass it. And it should go through a committee process so that the voters and the candidates and people participating in the election could be well educated on why, how, and whatever else needs to be told as to where we are. So we're talking about a process that can lead us to the end of summer.
So once it's presented to the legislature, they will set a time for a hearing date and time
But-
in their committee,
Well, first of all,
or invite us to.
yeah, first of all, they have to have a sponsor. And I think we have the election reform committee. So I believe the election reform committee, which has not yet been, we haven't met. But I think this should be the basis of our first meeting. Ms. Wells, you remember who you appointed? I know I'm one.
You switch place with somebody, right?
Mr. Molina.
Molinar,
no, he's
Webster.
No. So it's Webster,
Harry,
Webster,
George.
Daniel, Georges,
and you.
and Waddington. Okay. I would ask that you, at the meeting, if this is adopted, that we ask the joint board to authorize the committee to meet with the senator or senators to explain this, to explain this, and to have them sponsor the legislation so that we can move it through. I think going through the Attorney General route to Government House and back down to legislature, based on my experience, it'll take too much time. Okay. Any objections, Ms. Marsh Monsanto?
I'm just thinking that I don't see why the board as a whole can't sit in on these things.
Well, I think the board as a whole would be participatory at the legislative hearing if you choose to.
Okay.
But I'm saying we have a committee for election reform, and any other member could join in. I don't think none of this should be secret or personal or, in fact, to anyone. Any committee meeting of the joint board should be open to any member. I mean, but I'm just saying, somebody should just take the lead in trying to get it done as quickly as possible. Fair enough?
Fair enough, but keep in mind that I see you have on that.
You want to participate?
I don't want to, in the village, I don't want to be here to say that I want to be a part. No, I am not saying that, but I'm saying you have, for instance, Member Daniel, and I'm going to be honest with you. He's never present, he's always away. And my goodness, you all would still,
It's done what it's done. If it's not a problem with you participating, you're a member of the board, you understand what is what and why it's happening, and personally, I welcome your presence, as long as it is positive.
But we got positive or negative, we have to deal with whatever, but we need to have people who are willing to go along and be present.
Miss
Go ahead.
Santo. Mr. Daniel isn't here. He's been elected by the people of the Virgin Islands. When his term is up, that becomes.
I am not saying that. Don't get me wrong. I am saying that you, as chairman of this district, you have observed that Mr. Daniel is very much absent, but still you would put in an important issue on the, and I will put that on the record that we need to. Anyway, go ahead.
The chair, Ms. Monsanto, you were present at the meeting when they were asking for persons to join committees, but you chose not to join.
No, when Mr. Molina was asked, when you were asked,
I wasn't asked, but I joined the committee for personnel.
No, but I wasn't asked.
Yes, you would. It was at the last joint board.
It was at the last joint board meeting because
yes, he asked the board to chair. He said he don't want to chair it. He had it before the ticket from
my name was not mentioned in any form of
my name was not mentioned. I said I was going to join.
Two people speak.
Hers wasn't mentioned.
What I'm saying, if you want something,
If you want to join a committee,
just
go on.
I would like to be kept informed as to every committee meeting, and I would,
Through the administrative assistant, I think she sends out notices of the committee
I would
meeting.
like to be kept informed of
and
every
that will be
committee
done.
meeting, and I will try to attend as
Okay.
much as I can.
I thought the personal matter was, the issue was very important, and I joined the committee. You remember, you were
Don't
there.
forget, I'm a minority.
Oh, what am I
Go
doing?
ahead, see that. Miss,
There's no
You
minority
were
and
right
majority.
there.
I'm the minority, I've been reminded of
Ms.
it.
Monsanto, you want to start to
No, I am not
right
starting
there.
anything. I am being
You
emphatic.
are right
I am telling
there.
you the truth. That it's a very selective process as who will serve on what committee. We had an election reform committee before, of which Mr. Brian was on it, I was on it, and whoever else. This time they just bypassed everybody.
Okay.
If you thought it was important
Go ahead now,
enough,
Mr. Chair. Continue your
but I
meeting.
said you want to be on it.
Continue your meeting.
Didn't I tell you no?
Continue your meeting, Mr. Chair.
Okay, is it the pleasure of the members to take a vote on these items that it should be presented to the joint board as the proposal from the St. Thomas St. John District Board?
You want to do a motion?
Well, I'm asking if that's what's the pleasure of the majority.
If no one's in disagreement, then you'll see what we do.
Well, I think it carries more weight if in fact it is that we in fact have proposed these days and the reasons why.
My only thing, Mr. Chair, is that I have no problem with this, but if we're going to do it and we're going to address it tomorrow
Yes.
at the joint board meeting, I think it is only proper that we email today this information to the members of the St. Croix district. So they can study it and be prepared too for, it's sort of an element of surprise. Now,
Well, it's not an element of surprise, Ms.
I mean,
Monsanto,
for them-
because this was discussed at the last joint board meeting, and we didn't take any action on it because we gave the St. Croix members the opportunity to review it and then come up with their suggested.
Okay, so they will be coming with suggestions?
I don't, they haven't said, we haven't heard anything about them taking any action on this. But that was the purpose, for them to have the opportunity to review it, to understand it, and come up with a proposal. I personally believe that we should, in fact, adopt a resolution or take a vote that says that this is the proposal from the St. Thomas St. John Board, so that we can go there with a set of dates that make sense. You have any objections to that?
No, as long as you said that they are already in possession.
You
and
don't
they are-
remember.
You don't remember
how-
seeing
I remember that,
Yeah.
and with the understanding that they will come even tomorrow with.
Hopefully.
Okay, as long as that's the case, I have no problem with that.
Hopefully they will come tomorrow, the other members will come tomorrow with some semblance of a proposal.
Yes.
But I think it is our responsibility to put forth something so that we can move forward.
I agree.
Okay.
As long as
You want to make a motion?
Who's making the motion?
I move that we accept this
Proposal, the
by-
proposed
by-
dates?
by- The proposed dates as we have here this
Discussed.
morning, yes, and we have discussed. I move that we accept that. for-
Adopted as the recommendation of St. Thomas St. John Board, District Board of Election. Any second?
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Any objections? Hearing now, none?
To the chair, I would just like to say on the agenda for tomorrow.
Wait.
We're
In the middle of our roll call. Any objections? Hearing none, it is so ordered that in fact the proposal that we just discussed regarding the dates for the election cycle for 2014 and beyond be presented to the joint board as the proposal from the St. Thomas St. John District Board of Election. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to just say that on tomorrow's agenda, it says here, review of consent decree and legal update on necessary actions to be completed to be in compliance. So in other words, they should have that information and come prepared tomorrow because it's on the agenda.
And that's what we said should be on the agenda from last meeting. Now, at this meeting, that's what we should do. So I think we are pretty much on target. I think we move forward. We can move on to the other item, and I think we need Ms. Benjamin. Okay. They give them to me?
No, I just want to maneuver and
Okay.
make whatever change.
Okay, I'll move
I
there.
think I have exactly.
Yeah, I think so. Yes. I think for the third item, discussion of training for members. I don't know if it's you, Ms. Hendricks, who had this lengthy discussion with Ms. Benjamin about training for members. And I don't know if you want to start the discussion or you think Ms. Benjamin needs to be here. She said that she will be in and out because she's monitoring the construction, the installation of the AEA approved laboratory.
Okay, I just feel that it's baptism by fire, and I suspect that that's what it would be, but I still think that I should be given the opportunity to at least attend some training of some sort so that I can be, on par with everybody else concerning, like for instance, you just told me to make some resolutions.
Make a motion.
Before we can do that, Chair.
That's right.
Then you
We
can ask
need to
them,
know.
you can ask them a motion and what you just said.
No.
No, I know, I just making sure I put food for thought on the table from now. We need to make sure we know exactly how much money we have to go ahead and do these things. Because sometimes what have been the general practice, especially during your absence of 2 years, is sometimes we did not have sufficient monies that not only all the members or, how should I put it, very small number of members were able to go.
Yeah, I
And
think,
that includes even taking the route that another member took in reference of the supervisor's budget.
well, I think we have a lot of financial considerations ahead now and going to be happen going forward. But I think that Ms. Benjamin has been doing some budget figuring, and I don't know if in fact based on what I've seen in this budget, I don't think there's anything in between now and September that may be available, but I'm not sure. But Ms. Benjamin, I believe, had some discussions with Ms. Hendricks. I'm sure she didn't have any discussions with you. She had some discussions with me regarding there are some monies for training and or professional services of members. But I can't say what the budget is. I think that's basically something internally that we can handle. But I understand what Ms. Hendricks is saying, and she's saying that there are certain things in regards to the election business wherein she thinks training is warranted. Ms. Montandro.
Chairman, I would like to suggest that whatever programs are available to board members, let's say to travel abroad, because this information comes in that they're having this session or that session and they're inviting the members to come or whatever, and only a handful or few chosen vessels would know about this information. This has happened in the past. It is on record that I, myself and Mr. Daniel are the next two persons to travel abroad. Now,
How is it on record?
It's on the discussion.
Huh?
It's on the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how you get in front of me?
In front of you?
Yeah.
I've been head on that.
Huh?
I've been head on that. Anyway.
How you get in front of Ms. Hendricks?
Because she never got a chance.
I
to
never
vote.
got
So
a
what I mean-
chance, and Mr. Daniel didn't get a go.
So what does
I
that
am
mean?
reminding you, because it got to the point where I was supposed to be going to a conference, and they said there were no monies. The supervisor said there were no monies for the travel. Yet in fact, a call came into him that Lorna Thomas should travel because she wanted to go. Yet there were no monies for anybody else to go.
And what happened?
Monies came up through a telephone call. I don't need
It
that
came from the
anymore.
supervisor of election budget.
Yes, and he was ordered to do it.
That's what I was
He
referring
was
to.
ordered to do
The
it.
supervisor of election has a other boss other than the joint board?
You stay there with that.
Tell me.
You stay there with that. You stay there with that.
I should
Ms. Benjamin, we need your input.
You stay there with that.
May I have your invoice, please? May I have your invoice?
No, I'm just saying. I'm glad she's
It's
looking
too late
into
for
that, but
Yeah, that's all it's
But, huh?
That's all it's
Where is it? You didn't give it.
So Ms. Monsanto, would you be willing to pay your own way and be reimbursed?
Why should I pay? When the
In
money-
case you don't have any money.
I got a call made from someplace too.
Okay, good. Okay.
You can sign this.
Yeah.
Why should I say everybody did pay for in the past?
This happens only once a year.
It happens with the day plan, election incentives.
You see things like that come in, or you're not made aware of what's in.
They come in your name, once you've been to anything, once you're registered, it's your mail that comes into the office.
And or you can
That's
go
what
on
you
there,
call them,
or you can go online and ask them to
for
send you,
exactly.
election center to send you whatever information it needs.
They have more than one of these.
Any information.
No,
that
everybody
advises
Yeah.
of
Whose name on it?
conferences or whatever, please email me a copy.
Where you sign this?
Yeah, so if you find
After
out.
this,
Wait,
what
wait.
we do.
What you
Wait.
said you haven't attended
Oh.
any workshop.
Once you could go online, you could get them. once you go to work, your name is done.
I understand that part.
Well,
You know what
exactly.
it's
Now,
going to list.
yeah.
They'll send you one, they'll send you whatever you need, it's up to get on that. It comes way in advance.
Some have been on the board for like 20, 30 years.
Oh,
Okay, Ms. Benjamin, we are on the item of the discussion of training for members. Ms. Marsh Monsanto brought up one issue, the issue of the possible lack of financial resources, and two, some sequence of who is next to be trained. Can you shed some light on that? Each of those two issues? First with the financial resources, the challenges, if any.
Well, 2 years ago, we did have a financial constraint, and certain members was chosen to go on the election center workshop. Sandra had an opportunity, but it was based on last minute and finances. She had declined.
She declined?
I was told the last minute.
Yeah.
She declined?
Did I decline? It was the last minute before
It was
travel.
It was a last minute.
It was a
but
last
we
minute
before travel,
travel.
but she said she had other obligations.
Okay, she declined. Okay, good. That's what I want to make sure.
Okay, in 2014, the budget,
Yes,
it's just in a draft form right now.
yes.
Based on what your goals are in the future,
Yeah.
I know that everybody's interested in receiving election center training. I have added additional money in the September Senior District budget for training. I had 4,000, I think I'm going to increase it.
Right. Not to be more than that.
Because I'm also working professional service and also travel.
Okay.
So in the travel amount, I have $10,000.
Right.
And for training, I had 4, but I think I'm going to up it also $10,000.
Okay. But how does that hold with the financial limitations that they have given us?
For 2014, but I'm talking about.
Yes. How does that board with our the order from budget from OMB that our budget shall be such and such and such an amount?
Well, I'm still gonna submit it.
Okay, good. All right. But those numbers are over and above the ceiling that we have there.
It will be because,
Yeah.
according to the agenda, I'm also asking the board to do voters education,
Okay, we need to do that one there.
but that's a dollar part of it.
Okay, so you finished
Yeah.
with the item of the sequence and the practical, because they do it. They give these conferences and seminars in a. Let me finish, and then I get it. With a party of people. Now, if you are talking in terms of parliamentary procedure and things of that nature, we may be able to arrange for an expert parliamentarian to come in and give the entire board some sort of refresher course and or training in parliamentary procedure, how you make your motions and what's different between divide the question and things of that nature. Call the questions and those kinds of motions that really call for how meetings are conducted, such as these. That can be done. That's what you're suggesting, that type of training? Or you?
I don't know.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. We're talking for you. What are you suggesting? Because locally, there's the only thing that I think that would help us in terms of any training in election process would be actual experience or parliamentary procedure for the meetings, and or just getting up to speed on what Title 18 says.
And reading.
And reading, yeah.
And I mentioned at the last joint board that we had monies encumbered for the training for the entire board.
Yeah.
In that,
If the money is there, we need to use it. I have some,
What you saying?
the money is there, 2030, we need to use it for the new fiscal year. It's carried forward, but I think we need to use it now, because I see that this board, new members, old members need a training. Based on some of your concerns, I have some dates here. I'm gonna share it with you. We just have to choose which date we actually want to go on the educational retreat.
Workshop. Okay.
August 2nd, August 3rd, I'm gonna give that a copy. August 9th to the 11th, 16th to the 18th, 23 to the 25th. These are all August dates. There'll be a 2-day educational workshop. And we also have July 12th to the 14th, 19th to the 21st, 26th to the 28th. This is something I've been working on closely with the Western Retreat. I think we need to utilize it.
I like August 23rd, 24th.
So can you can give us those dates so that we can plan our.
Oh, we don't have to share it also with the joint board.
Yeah, okay. But you can share it, you can give it to even to us today.
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay. So
Thank
that
you,
is training.
That's a good thing.
Okay. So you only have to keep.
I like that.
Okay. The idea of the voter education, item number E. Voter education and election exposition.
Another idea for that. I think we need to have something in place on how we actually should be counting the absentee ballots.
How we should be.
Counting the absentee ballots. I think we need to have something in writing. We need to have some kind of policy.
So in the past, what we just, how it was done?
Each district handles ballots different.
Also, you want a uniform.
I would like to have it uniform because listen to me, we're dealing with delegates and senator law. That's territorial. So I think that
What's your issue with it?
my issue personally.
What's your
Oh, my
issue with
issue,
what's your issue in terms of the lack of uniformity? Because I've never heard that before.
Lack of uniformity.
I've never heard that voice.
Okay, for example, St. Croix counted their ballots by district. St. Thomas didn't.
What do you mean district?
When they was counting their ballots, they did it by district.
What district? You only
Polling
polling precinct.
Yeah,
Precinct, yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry. And St. Thomas did it.
But absentee ballots are not by precinct. Absentee ballots are not precinct ballots.
Paper ballots.
That you said
You
absentee
said
ballots.
absentee.
Paper ballots.
Well, paper ballots and the advent of paper ballots is something that happened last year for the first time.
For the first time.
Okay? Well, the first time in 16 years.
Yeah.
And they should not have been counted, they should have been counted just this possible. And I don't think the law changed. Those paper ballots should have been counted at the precinct. My opinion. If they were, when we had paper ballots and when I participated in election before we went to machine, paper ballots were counted at the precinct. And if you count them at the precinct, they have the same tally when you put in the cartridge in, because there's no place else that I know of in the world that had the type of election that we had last year, where the majority of the votes were cast on a voting machine, and then the law still allowed people to vote in the same precinct and vote by another formula. The provisional ballots are provisional ballots because, in fact, there is a question of the qualification of a voter. But to have a paper ballot and a voting machine in the same precinct, I don't think there's no place else after that. No place else.
Was the voting machine and the ballot?
ballot?
Yes.
New York.
No, they have provisional ballots.
They have paper ballots.
Okay, I don't see them as having so anyway, I don't see that as an issue. I think clearly the law says how it's supposed to be done. The law says it should have been done. The law, when we had paper ballots, made it clear that the paper ballot should be counted at primary, but at the precinct. But if you think that's something for the districts or for the joint boards, I mean that's something for discussion at the joint board. I think it's clear if you have paper ballots, but it may be a moot point. Give me 1 second, Mr. Johnny. It may be a moot point if in fact you go to these paper ballots and with these paper counting machines, because these machines that are under contract require you to use paper ballots and use the machines to count them. at the precinct.
Motion.
No, not yet.
Motion to the president.
No, well, yeah.
Motion at this time.
We have nothing on the floor to this, to make a
I would like
motion
to make a motion though.
but there's nothing on the floor to make a motion on at this point.
I will-
Ms. Georges.
Motion to the president.
We don't have an item to vote on.
Why don't you make a motion?
We in the middle of the discussion. Can you hold your motion?
Motion to the president.
Okay, what's your motion? Go with your motion.
I move that if by September 30th of 2013, the EAC certified machines are not purchased, that paper ballots be the voting instrument for use in the 2014 election.
Second.
It's out of order because this body doesn't have the right to pass any law in regards to any paper ballot, be in the form of anything to be. I rule it out of order. This body can determine what type of machines, nor what type of process you can use to vote.
This body will be meeting in a joint.
The joint boards can't do it either. Only the legislature and the ordinance
I
can
am
determine
saying the
that.
recommendation.
You want to challenge the
is
chair?
joint.
You want to challenge the chair's vote? The judge order?
Go ahead. You
Okay, thank you. If you don't challenge, then we move it forward.
give it up.
You can't do it. Improper
I
motion.
just want to put that on record with that.
Improper motion.
That's a record.
Ms. Georges.
Two things, okay.
Let's remember, started to write a motion, second that.
No, it's not a proper
I want
motion.
to write on it and have it.
You have it on tape. It's not a proper motion.
Thank you so much.
No, it's been ruled out.
Thank you so much. You're powerful.
Well, challenge the chair. That's all you gotta do. Ms. Georges.
Okay, you kept referring back to the paper ballot. I see that Attorney Salisbury is looking, I looked already too, and I feel that when they remove the paper ballot as being a voting instrument, I think they also remove that part of the code.
Okay.
So that because remember the machine was the only thing you had, and you had absentee ballots, provisional ballots.
I'm not sure.
I understand, but I understand what you're saying, like in other words, bring it.
In other words, the law still requires that the votes cast in each precinct be counted as cast in each precinct. And if you have paper ballots, right, that cast are in Corwin Terrace, and you have a cartridge of votes that are cast in Corwin Terrace, those two types should be matched, so that we know that 700 votes came out of Corwin Terrace, 200 of which were paper ballots, and 500 were on the cartridge. It only makes sense.
If I'm not mistaken, I think there was also the law passed that was supposed to be counted that night, referring to the paper ballots.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken.
And what would have been the most practical
Do
way?
it right there as you're suggesting at the polling site.
All right.
That way, and of course,
Well, that's
for
fine.
this district, right, and of course for this district, since it's not your
Exactly.
so you'll have that on your mind. So, also
I
for
hope I
the,
survive.
also for to count it at the polling site and to have that information disseminated not only to the public but also to the candidates by each polling site identified with X number of votes or whatever, like how it used to be done before.
In the absence of legislation, then we have a right to set policy.
Referring to the policy.
Yeah, in the absence of legislation, but we don't know what's going to happen.
Between now and.
Yeah, but I think there was in the law a proviso that said it counted that
That
night.
night.
I
Right.
never took place, so. All right, anything else on the?
Also, could I ask one more thing?
Yeah, sure.
I know we're not, in 2014 yet, but food for thought, because these things get lost in the shuffle. A lot of constituents have spoken to me, and I also have the same concern, that when we see the results coming up on the monitor, we need to see those results coming up by precinct, by voting precinct or polling site, whatever term you want to use.
Well, I think you've been through the process. And it's
When, let me say this here on the record, we had it when I first came on this board, for whatever reason, 2010 and 2012 election, that didn't happen. So I'm bringing this to your attention since you weren't, especially here during 2012.
Well, in every other election that I've seen, it was very difficult for you to determine right then and there where the votes are coming from the precincts, because the cartridges are fed so fast into the counter. So
I read, right, I come back home, but I remember that they would say, oh, Mola school, blank number of persons voted, and they would have that information.
I understand. I guess that's a programming issue, but I see that once you put in civil school
But
cartridge.
they weren't doing that. You see, that was the problem. They were just giving you a total. They wasn't saying civilly school or Mola school. They just said total amount X
But what difference does it make that then? Because what difference does it make? Tell me what difference. You say it makes a big difference. Wait, hold on. What difference does it make that night, really, in terms of where each
I think
went?
it'll add more to transparency.
Oh, that's the big difference?
I think it's going to add to our big.
So you're ignoring the fact that the next day you get a printout which breaks down each precinct.
Technology. I mean, you know.
The board and the candidates. Everybody, you get a printout of how many votes you get, how much votes you
But
get.
they will give the total, sorry, they were only given the total, you know, when they put it in the paper, they only gave the total, they did not put, like how they did it in the past, that you had the individual precincts. This way you do.
Okay.
I know, I think so.
New machines.
I think
As
so.
far as I understand it,
If I'm not mistaken,
the
right.
new machines will cover all of that.
And you said the keyword, sorry to interrupt, your keyword was programming. So again, bringing it to your attention.
Yeah, well, I mean, my understanding, I mean, and I'm not as wary and suspicious of the voting process as many other people. But I see the same process, because if the machines, the voting machines that are going to be located at the precincts still have a cartridge that will be fed into a counter, into a central computer system, it can just as easily total up the number of votes without itemizing them from each precinct. Because remember, each cartridge from the voting machine represents the votes, the precinct. And when you load them in, all you're doing is counting the total number of votes. At some point in time, that system breaks out what you got from each precinct. And I don't understand why it's important for you to understand and see or get the printout that night, immediately as it is done. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Sharon, Benjamin, can you correct me? On the vote, when they finally count all the votes, isn't there a printout that separates the votes by precinct?
No.
Wait, let her answer no? Huh?
No.
Hold on. Where are the results from the last election?
I don't know, probably in Maduro office.
When somebody can go in there and get them out?
I don't know what they are. They're in her office.
In the last
But what George is saying, she was correct in what she's saying.
In
Did
terms
not
of-
get the result by precinct.
Well, I saw mine by precinct.
Not the spelling, not
So this time it didn't have any breakdown.
I didn't get any breakdown.
So they still doesn't have a breakdown by
I
precinct.
can't answer that. I just telling you, I did not get any breakdown.
Where I would like to know, where is the paper and the paper that was produced from the cartridges and the paper ballots from last election?
I can't answer to.
Yeah, but Ms. Wesley supervised the move from the one office to the other. And come like the board of election, information and property hasn't been separated from the office of supervisor.
You're quite right in that assumption.
And I have a motion on that. I have a motion.
Motion.
Okay? I move that Ms. Benjamin provide the 2012 general election tally sheets to Ms. Harriet Mercer and Mrs. Diane McGrath as they have requested by hopefully Friday, April 19th by 5 p.m. This is how urgent it is and important it
Has
is
the motion
for
been
this
submitted?
information. I move that Ms. Benjamin. Now, I'm making a motion. You want me to read it again? She wants me to write it out.
Are you
Yeah,
finished?
she wants you to
I think the motion is that you making a motion that Ms. Sharon Benjamin provide to Harriet Mercer and Diane McGrath the results of the 2012 election by
Tally
tomorrow.
sheets.
The tally sheet.
Tally sheets.
By when?
As they have requested, as you over and over, and you have here on this. You have
Wait. You making a motion or you lecturing?
by Friday, April 19th.
Okay, by Friday today, April 19th. Any second?
Second.
I need a motion and second.
Okay, I'll write it down for you.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. I object. Roll call.
You have to give up on the document.
Roll call.
No, I want the motion and the record.
Okay.
You give me all your papers.
She moved, the motion is that Sharon Benjamin be ordered and directed to provide to Harriet Mercer and Diane McGrath the tally sheet for the 2012 election by tomorrow. It's been moved.
As they have requested.
As they have requested.
Requested over and over.
As they have
and over.
requested.
I have it.
I'm writing this here.
It's been properly moved and seconded by Ms. Georges. With Salty.
I'm sorry. Mary Daniel absent. Claudette Georges?
Yes.
Yes. Lydia Hendricks?
No, but
No,
besides
no,
this,
No.
no discussion?
No, you have your vote.
Voting.
Lydia Hendricks, no. Wilma Marsh Monsanto?
Yes.
Yes. Arturo Watlington Jr.?
No.
No. Alicia Wells? No. The motion is no.
Motion lost. We still were on voter education.
And the expo.
And the item of the tally sheets is announcements or new business based upon a letter that was sent by Ms. Diane McGrath April 12th, and we discussed it at that time. It would be better if you wait until the items are discussed to just rush things through because it comes to your mind.
You have on this,
Madam Chair, Madam must proceed. I mean,
it comes from the voter education.
Madam Marsh Monsanto, it would come under new business.
It would have, but
It
you
will
were
come in
in-
under new
You
business.
were in a discussion about the machine.
Voter education, it was nothing about
No.
any request by the
No, you were
constituents.
talking about the machines and the ballots. You were asking
Ms.
Ms. Benjamin
Benjamin.
if she has the ballots,
Ms.
if she knows where they are.
We're going back to this voter education, and you talked about the issue of the voter education, and you discussed the issue of the voter education.
You didn't need to repeat.
I need to repeat.
No, about the.
Voter education is one thing, and then you went into a policy